Hello, Paul Hamilton here for iPad Monthly. We're going to have a look at a fun little activity called Tug of War. So let's jump straight into it. We're going to use a very underestimated app called iCard Sort. Now, when you open up iCard Sort and you save, you can touch the top little rectangle at the top right-hand corner and go down to Settings, because we're actually going to use an image for the background for this one. So we're actually going to say choose Save Photo, and we're going to bring in, I've got a little Tug of War image here that we're going to use. So that's really, really great because today's activity is Tug of War. And what we're going to do is allow kids to create different cards that support two different perspectives. And let's say the question is, should I kick Goldilocks out of the house, for example? And so we can start to bring in those different things. So it's as easy as bringing in some decks. I think I've got the actual deck as I've finished here. Let's jump into this one here. And all I've done is created a couple of cards here and actually get kids to start actually building. So all I've actually done is create a new card. For example, no, that was the no. I've gone down and you can change the color of the card. Let's say we've done a neutral kind of color. We'll go with pink. And that's the text color. You can actually use different backgrounds and so forth as well. So we might use a black background there, and you can actually double tap there to actually edit the text, and we might say there it's undecided, and we could bring in some different elements. And so what we can actually do is look at the key question here: should the family kick Goldilocks out, and start to have students collect some evidence and some support for both the blue team and the green team, for example. I might actually change the colors there to make it blue and green a little bit. Let's just change that. Let's rubbish bin that and just double tap there. And you can go some other text colors as well. You can actually use a lot of different cards. So I might actually choose blue for that one because it is actually supporting the blue team and so forth. But what we're actually going to get our kids to do is actually create some different cards. So should the family kick Goldilocks out? You might say no, because a student might come up and say, well, maybe she was hungry and she actually really needed the food. And so we might actually put that under the hungry side and actually put it above one of these. And hopefully what it's actually doing is it's kind of reflecting the amount of people on each team and the different weighting of each of the arguments. So you might say that that's a really valid point, and it's quite a weighty point. So you might actually put them at the back of the tug of war if you think that's where the strongest arguments are. So it might not be a case of how many cards the students come up with. It actually could to do with the weighting of the card and the actual argument and the justification of it. But this is just a fantastic way of using iCard Sort to do some sorting. And then you could actually do it in a whole different way. You actually might let's jump into settings here, and you might say, I'm not going to use a background, actually a card at all, and I might actually just start to use that sort of thing where we can actually put the no's and we can actually weigh them a little bit more in regard to the different weightings. So we might say put all of the really strong arguments for no in this top quadrant here and put the lower ones in this quadrant. And there's a whole lot of different templates and settings in iCard Sort that can actually get you to think about the different justifications. So you might actually have undecided in the middle here and yes, no on either side. But I do like the tug of war. I think bringing in an image and bringing in that concept of it's kind of a bit of a battle, a little bit of a dilemma battle here, is a great way of kids kind of coming up with some great arguments for both sides. Paul Hamilton here for iPad Monthly, signing off.